So much genius has come about as a result of immigrants coming with their intellect, talent, ability, with what true grit, to be able to create common cause among one another, to lift up a nation. And that's what immigrants have done. I'm the proud daughter of two Jamaican immigrants who immigrated to the United States in the mid to late 1950s. And they came to the United States seeking education. They came as foreign students. While I was born and raised in Brooklyn, my parents used every opportunity they could for my brother and I to be in Jamaica with my grandparents. I think for my parents, they didn't want my brother and I to lose sight of that culture. Growing up in Brooklyn, New York, you're meeting a whole bunch of other, second generation Americans. And so you have that in common. And what would happen is we would push one another to excel because we knew what our parents sacrificed to be here and to raise us, immigrants who give up everything they know that's familiar to them to come to the United States, come with that level of drive, persistence, stamina. There was a protectiveness of my brother and I as my parents sort of navigated the systems. My mom, she was fearless. She was like a warrior, and she ended up becoming an elected official in Central Brooklyn. She was actually the first foreign-born woman to be elected to the New York City Council. She was like a baked-in role model, a baked-in mentor. I knew that if my mom was passionate about people and passionate about service, there was something gratifying in it. And so I ultimately found that gratification myself. I choose to raise up our humanity. I choose to be in the battle for dignity, in the battle for justice, for fairness, for equity. And that comes from my lived experience of being raised by two immigrants. I am one of the women who are leading the charge for the Biden-Harris American Citizenship Act, which will be a monumental comprehensive immigration reform bill that we'll be presenting to the Congress. We're still living off a broken 20th century immigration policy. And so we owe it to ourselves to create a humane immigration system. It's the 21st century, for goodness sakes. We've got over 11 million people here who only want to make it right, who want to take up the mantle of being an American. They're not being allowed to do so. It's being withheld from them out of discrimination, out of bias, out of hatred and bigotry. But if there's any nation that I believe can overcome it, it's the United States of America. If it weren't for immigrants during this pandemic, where would we be? Nurses, grocery workers, farm hands. The reality is, each and every day, we are interacting with immigrants. The overwhelming majority of who we are people who came from around the world to this beacon of light. And so we got to keep raising that torch, and we got to remind people of who we are. I am proud to be a daughter of immigrants because I have been given the best opportunities to make a difference. One of the things about being the child of an immigrant is the optimism. You can see the promise in the struggle that so many who preceded you made possible for me to be where I am and be in a position to make a difference in people's lives and to change the policies, the chemistry, if you will, of our democracy.